Okay, so this is a Triumph Dolomite, and it's a purchase of mine that I made yesterday. Reason for getting a Triumph Dolomite: I've had one before. I've had one for about 8.5 years that it was on the road the whole time, but when I first got it, I had to do a lot of work on it, a huge amount of work. And I mean, I'm talking about taking the engine out and putting it back in twice and replacing the gearbox twice, in order to find one that actually worked good. And the first engine couldn't get the head off because they put the wrong head bolts in, and it turned into be something that in the end it was a huge amount of work. So why did I get another one? Well, my dad, he's got Triumph Dolomite Sprints. He loves Dolomites. He had one back in the day, back in the 70s, as a company car, around about the time when I was a baby. So he's got two Dolomite Sprints which are absolutely immaculate, and then he had a Group 1 Dolomite Sprint race car that he had, which is now in a museum. So hence why I've got this. But so first look over it. Got told, I know about this car. It was the MIT training car for the at the Unitech for automotive training back in the 2000s, and I spoke to the guy back in the 2000s about this car when I had my Dolomite, and he told me all about it, and I believe it went on to his daughter after that. But recognized it from the blue stripes, which are gonna go, not to my liking. They're gonna go straight away, easily enough peeled off when I wash it. So yeah, there's all a box of carburetor bits and pieces like that, and overall doesn't look too bad. It's got bits of rust, shouldn't be very difficult to patch bits in there. Now in the back, I was very pleased to find a Sprint spoiler, which is good. Original Sprint spoiler, and there's some Sprint badges as well. Here's some Sprint badges. They can go for quite a lot of money, which are good. Oh, don't know whose address that was. Previous owner. And more carburetor bits, and a manual, and a beer box full of carburetor bits. So the old one I had, I'd replaced the seats from another one in it anyway, and found some really mint seats, and replaced the dash and the hood lining and stuff like that. Really ripped, seats are knackered, floors look intact, sills look intact. There's only like little bits of rust. The guy put rust kill on there to stop it from getting any worse, and so she's not too bad. So that's just vinyl stripes, that will come off. Need a new windscreen rubber, but that will have to come out anyway, easily enough to do. There's a little bit of rust here. It's nice thick metal though, so that won't be too difficult to either just put in another little piece of metal in there. Now apparently the engine was completely rebuilt at Unitech, and all this was all done, so the engine's been rebuilt in the last, and it hasn't had a lot of use, so it should be good. And there's just a little bit of rust along here, but it doesn't take a lot to get these looking really mint. And then when they do are mint, people just love them and they look fantastic. So tow bar, which is good. So the doors are all tidy. There's no bog in the doors. Forgot to mention, typical Triumph steering rack, knackered, unless that's just a knuckle. Could be just a knuckle joint, but normally. So we've got another shell, and we've got another roof lining anyhow. then we probably got other bits and pieces. I know I've got some bits underneath the house for Dolomites, Dolomites, and then I've got, Dad's got spare racks. He's told me he's got some spare racks anyway. So we should be set pretty much. I mean, I only got this because I know them already. My dad loves them and he's got them, and plus the fact we've got parts and we know what to do on them. We've got plenty of experience. My dad's probably one of the most knowledgeable people in the whole of New Zealand on Dolomite, giant Dolomites, especially sprints. Probably got the most experience with racing them in the country, in the classic series. So yeah, so it should be good. And then they're going for quite good money now when they sell, when they're done up, as long as you sort the rust out and the paint and get them all running quite nice, and you know, so it should be good. So next job is I'm going to, yeah, excuse the mess, but put my back out about 2.5 weeks ago and couldn't move. So I've got to take things slowly and not damage my back again. One wrong move could put me back in traction pretty much on painkillers, and once you're on those painkillers you can't do anything anyway because you can only sleep, or it's like being drunk. So yeah, so I'm going to use this one. It's got the new clutch and the new diff and Crave diff and the new CVs, and took the engine out, put it back in, and she's all good, but she needs the windscreen, around the windscreen sorting, and then I'll use this for a tow. So I think what I'll do is I'll tow it with this back up here, and then I'll spend some more time just checking over things like the points and firing order, and I might put some oil in the bores today and just check all the wiring's actually right on the ignition system, and I might turn it over by hand as well and just listen for any noises, but because it's an auto, I think there's a issue with the starter motor as well. So I mean, I did all that on the Alpha. When I got the Alpha, it was my Alpha that I did. I had such problems with that too, with the starter motor, which needed a rebuild, and I rebuilt that, and you know, it's just teething issues with things that have been sitting around for so long, and now that car's perfect. You know, that will start every day, no problem, reliable daily driver kind of thing. So yeah, so it's spring at the moment, so everything's growing crazy. All the grass is growing crazy and everything, so right, so I've got to find this tow hook for this car. Pretty sure they put them in the boot. I think I've seen it in the boot. Okay, so it took me absolutely ages to find this, but it's meant to be located in the wheel well, and it screws in, but I took everything out of the back of this only to find it wasn't in there. Surprise, surprise. And I found one in my other wagon, which is the same car anyhow. So that was in the right place, but I had to take everything out of the boot for that, which took forever. So I'm going to give this a go. So the idea is, thank goodness it's got a tow bar. So I'll find some to get rid of all this junk once I can actually lift things again. When the doctor says I can actually lift something without injuring myself forever.